Mr. Snow. What are the Hunger Games for? If you want to protect people, then it's essential to accept what human beings are and what it takes to control them.
You're monsters! All of you!
In the shadow of Katniss Everdeen's future rebellion, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds Snakes, directed with dystopian flair by Francis Lawrence, delves into the origins of Panem's tyrannical overlord, Coriolanus Snow. Penned by Michael Lesslie and Michael Arndt, the prequel takes us 64 years back in time to the origins of The Hunger Games. Featuring Tom Blyth, Rachel Zegler, Peter Dinklage, Jason Schwartzman, Hunter Schafer, Andrés Rivera, and Viola Davis, the narrative tapestry is woven with the threads of the 2020 novel of the same name by Suzanne Collins. The film unfurls the tale of young Coriolanus Snow, portrayed with a mix of desperation and cunning by Tom Blyth, the last beacon of hope for the waning Snow lineage, once revered in the capital. The post-war era has not been kind to the Snows, leaving Corio clutching at straws to salvage his family's lost honor. Thrust into the role of a mentor in The Hunger Games, Snow is paired with Rachel Zegler's Lucy Gray Baird, a tribute hailing from the destitute District 12. Lucy, a figure who exudes defiance through song, soon becomes the darling of Panem, offering Snow a glimmer of hope to alter their intertwined destinies. As the narrative twists and turns, Snow finds himself at a moral crossroads, grappling with his innate propensity for both benevolence and malevolence. The film portrays his tumultuous journey, a high-stakes game where he must decide whether he will emerge as a songbird, a symbol of hope and resilience, or a snake, an emblem of cunning and ruthlessness. The Ballad of Songbirds Snakes is more than just a precursor to the rebellion. It's a complex study of character and power, a gripping tale of survival against the backdrop of a society on the brink of collapse. In this video, we're going to explore the story, characters, and the ending of the film.
I have summoned you all here for the 10th annual reaping ceremony, in which we choose 2 children from each district to fight to the death in the Hunger Games.
What happens in there, fueled with the terror of becoming prey. See how quickly we become predator? See how quickly civilization disappears?
The Hunger Games, they're to punish the districts.
Your role is to turn these children into spectacles, not survivors.
This prequel, beginning 3 years before the inception of the infamous games, introduces us to a young Coriolanus navigating a world marked by rebellion and cannibalism. The film catapults us into the stark brutality of Panem's Civil War era, with a harrowing opening scene. Corio and his cousin Tigris foraging for food, stumbling upon a man dismembering another for sustenance. The startling violence sets a high-stakes tone for the narrative to unfold. The death of his father, General Crassus Snow, places the burden of the Snow legacy squarely on his young shoulders. Fast-forwarding 13 years, and we encounter an older Coriolanus, now sharing his life with his cousin, Hunter Schafer's Tigris, and grandmom, played by Fionola Flanagan. As the Snow family clings to the remnants of their once great name, Coriolanus embarks on a mission to restore their honor through his role as a mentor in the 10th Hunger Games. Here he rubs shoulders with other mentors, like the wealthy but critical Sejanus Plinth, portrayed by Andrés Rivera, under the watchful eyes of headmaker Viola Davis's Dr. Volumnia Gall and games architect Dean Casca Highbottom, in an understated performance from Peter Dinklage. The selection of tributes brings a twist of fate, as Coriolanus is assigned to mentor Lucy Gray Baird from District 12. Her defiant spirit, showcased in the rebellious song during the reaping ceremony, captivates Coriolanus, marking the beginning of a complex relationship. As the games approach, Corio finds himself drawn into a world of political maneuvering and ethical dilemmas. His innovative proposal to fund tributes via viewer donations, initially stolen by his friend Clemencia Dovecote, is eventually acknowledged as his own by Dr. Gall in a test involving venomous snakes. A rebel bombing in the arena throws the games into chaos, forging a bond between Corio and Lucy as she saves him from certain death. This pivotal moment leads Coriolanus to a dark decision, as he plots to arm Lucy Gray with a poisoned compact mirror, hinting at the moral complexities of his character. It's not long until the arena becomes a horrifying stage as the Hunger Games commence with brutality. With the world watching, aggressive tributes including the formidable Coral, played by Mackenzie Lansing, ruthlessly eliminate their weaker counterparts. Amidst this chaos, Lucy, District 12's enigmatic tribute, maneuvers through danger alongside Nick Benson's Jessup, her fellow district mate suffering from a bat-bite's delirium. Corio Snow, now deeply entangled in the game's machinations, witnesses his donation proposal turn into a viewership sensation. In a harrowing night operation, he's forced to rescue Sir Plinth, who breaks into the arena to pay respect to his deceased friend, resulting in the unintended but necessary killing of the tribute Tanner. This incident, shrouded in secrecy, puts Snow in the good graces of the wealthy Plinth family. With the game spiraling into a deadly crescendo, Lucy finds herself in dire straits as the rabid Jessup loses his mind. Desperate, Snow convinces Jessup's mentor to use a drone-delivered water bottle, inadvertently leading to Jessup's tragic demise. Lucy's survival instincts kicks in as she uses rat poison to lethal effect, accidentally causing the death of a young tribute Dill, an act that leaves her grappling with guilt. But the plot thickens when head game maker Goal announces the imminent death of all the tributes in response to the rebel bombing that killed Felix Revenstill, the president's son. In a daring move, Snow infiltrates Goal's lab and introduces Lucy's scent to the venomous snake fat to protect her. In a tense showdown in the vents, Lucy eliminates another tribute, Treach, using her wits and the remaining rat poison. The arrival of the snake fat marks the final part of the games, leading to the deaths of the remaining tributes, including the resilient Reaper. Lucy, now the last one standing, becomes a symbol of defiance and resilience, her victory won amidst a chorus of snakes and chants for her triumph from viewers and mentors alike. However, Snow's clandestine tactics come to light when Dean Casca Highbottom discovers his use of rat poison and his interference with the snake fat. In a twist of fate, Snow is sentenced to serve as a peacekeeper in the districts for 20 years, marking the beginning of his descent into the ruthless ruler known in the future Hunger Games. The story unfolds with Corio, now a peacekeeper trainee alongside his conflicted comrade Suzanne Plinth. Coriolanus, driven by an unquenchable thirst to reclaim his family's honor, wrangles his way to District 12. Here he's able to reunite with Lucy, the enigmatic songstress and Hunger Games survivor, sparking an intense and clandestine romance. Amidst their burgeoning love, Lucy's haunting rendition of the hanging tree underscores the oppressive reality of their world, and as their relationship deepens, Coriolanus becomes entwined in a web of rebellion and betrayal. His discovery of Sejanus's rebel sympathies leads him to a fateful decision, as he records and betrays Sejanus's plans to Dr. Goal, sealing his friend's grim fate. In a twist of events at the Hop, Coriolanus is thrust into a deadly confrontation involving Lucy's past lover, Billy Torp, and others. The night culminates in a chilling act of violence as Corio commits murder, irrevocably altering his path. As the narrative propels to its climax, Coriolanus plans a desperate escape with Lucy Gray to the north. However, their adventure to a secluded hut is marked by distrust and the disappearance of Lucy, causing Snow to shoot in her direction, unraveling their plans. The Mockingjays, echoing Lucy Gray's songs, becomes a chorus to Coriolanus' descent into madness and obsession. Returning to the capital, Coriolanus' journey comes full circle. His transformation is catalyzed by a bequest from Sejanus's parents, which secures his position at the university. A pivotal meeting with Highbottom reveals the tragic origin of the Hunger Games, a concept born from a drunken conversation with Snow's father, turned into a harrowing reality. This revelation leads to a sinister act as Coriolanus ensures Highbottom's silence forever with poison. In the final act, Coriolanus' encounter with Goal cements his transformation. He begins to embrace the Hunger Games not as a mere punishment for the districts, but as a complex symbol of power and control, one he's now keen to embrace. As he steps into his role as a future game maker, the voice of his older self, played by Donald Sutherland, ominously reflects, "It's the things we love the most that destroy us," foreshadowing the rise of President Snow and the twisted legacy he'll create in Panem.
I want my enemies to see a rainbow of destruction engulfing the world. Mr. Snow, let me ask you one final time. What are the Hunger Games for?
I told you what a fragile thing peace was. It's the things we love most that destroy us.
The prequel by Francis Lawrence marks a return to the dystopian world of Panem, yet it falters in replicating the original trilogy's compelling clarity on the horrors of war. While Suzanne Collins' original saga was a masterful blend of young adult storytelling and a poignant commentary on violence and totalitarianism, this prequel meanders into a thematic haze. With the villainous Viola Davis and Jason Schwartzman portraying the Hunger Games' inaugural host with a dash of jaded elitism, the film doesn't lack in its portrayal of dark, manic characters. However, despite these strong performances and action sequences reminiscent of a toned-down Hunger Games, the film struggles to capture the moral lucidity of the original series. Adapted from the 2020 prequel by Collins, the story rewinds almost 7 decades to explore the youth of Coriolanus Snow, the future dictatorial president of Panem. Bereft of his father, General Crassus Snow, and the family's fall from grace, Snow's ambitions are stifled under the watchful eye of Peter Dinklage's Casca Highbottom. While the books presented Snow as a cunning, ruthless leader, the film's portrayal of his teenage years fails to provide a substantive foundation for his villainous evolution. The narrative, spanning just over a year of Snow's life, lacks the depth and conviction to demonstrate a genuine character journey, leaving his descent into darkness feeling more like a narrative inevitability than an organic development. At times, the film oscillates between a romantic drama and a critique of neoliberal ideologies, complete with the stresses of student loans and the challenges of new friendships. These themes, while potentially resonant with the film's target audience, float aimlessly without a cohesive, overarching through line. The film's inability to offer a close examination of Snow's character, or to meaningfully explore his influence on Panem's future, renders its focus on him questionable. In essence, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes attempts to navigate a complex mix of themes, from young love and societal pressures to the weight of legacy and political machinations. However, it ends up as a collection of disjointed subplots, struggling to find a narrative anchor. The film's preoccupation with detailing Snow's backstory, while neglecting the depth and nuance required for a compelling villain origin story, results in a somewhat diluted addition to the Hunger Games franchise, one that misses the incisive political commentary that made the original series resonate so powerfully. The story is effectively segmented into 3 parts, each with its own focus and flair. The initial segment rivals the original film in its depth and ingenuity. Here, Snow introduces novel concepts to the game maker, highlighting the franchise's hallmark, the art of propaganda, theatricality, and deception. This installment excels in portraying the strategic manipulation of public opinion, a cornerstone of the Hunger Games saga. It also serves to reveal how the games evolved into a riveting spectacle by forging parasocial connections with the tributes. But as we transition to the actual games, the film loses some of its luster. Lawrence crafts chaotic combat scenes, yet the narrative feels somewhat repetitive and less nuanced. There's a noticeable shift from strategic intricacies to more straightforward action. Although visually striking, these scenes seem more focused on crafting memorable images than delivering thrilling combat sequences, underlying the game's role in the Capitol's propaganda machine. The arena, devoid of the grandeur of later games, is a stark, brutal enclosure where youthful combatants face their grim fates. The action is unflinchingly raw, amplifying the palpable oppression within Panem. Tom Blyth, in his first major film lead, is great as Snow, especially in the first 2 acts, blending charisma and cunning in equal measure. His assignment to mentor Lucy from District 12, Rachel Zegler channeling Dolly Parton, presents both an opportunity and a conundrum. Lucy brings a singer's charm instead of a warrior's prowess to the fore, pointing to a different kind of survival strategy, one that plays to the gallery. The antithesis of Katniss, Lucy brings a vibrant edge to the narrative, though her performance does verge on being over the top. In the first 2 acts, you get the impression that her character is putting on a persona for the cameras, but you soon realize this is what she's like all the time. Kind of funny how she described the Princess Aza character in her upcoming disaster adaptation of Snow White as a stalker, yet has nothing bad to say about Coriolanus in her press run now, who's literally a lover turned psychopathic stalker and murderer in the final act of this film.
Weird.
With her rainbow dress and defiant spirit, Lucy seems like the perfect ticket to victory, but Snow's journey is complicated by conflicting loyalties, his love for his country, his admiration for his rebellious friend Sejanus, and his growing affection for Lucy. But the film stumbles in its exploration of Snow's inner turmoil, leaving his motives as murky as the foggy woods of District 12. The narrative, laden with familiar Hunger Games motifs, often feels like a retread rather than a revelation. The repeated use of the hanging tree as both score and plot device, while haunting, borders on overkill. Moreover, the film's attempt to parallel the original trilogy's moments, like the death of a District 11 tribute, feels more like emotional manipulation than genuine storytelling. But most of my problems with the film don't really start until the 3rd act, which kicks in post-games and feels like a daunting new chapter rather than a continuation of the story we've been following. Here the focus narrows to Corio himself, exploring his evolution against the backdrop of an oppressed district. This part of the film, rich in character development opportunity and moral dilemmas, feels somewhat rushed, leaving one wishing for more room to explore its complexities. The decision to condense this story into 1 film, rather than splitting it into 2, as was done with the final book of the original trilogy, is somewhat puzzling. Writers Michael Lesslie and Michael Arndt's dramatic shift in Snow's character trajectory feels more like a forced push towards his future presidency than a smooth progression in his character arc. The budding romance between Lucy and Snow shifts gears abruptly, with more emphasis on Zegler's singing than developing authentic emotional depth. Snow's transformation from principled to vile lacks convincing triggers, leaving the audience grappling with his sudden cold-hearted decisions. He literally goes from being in love with Lucy to hunting her down in the woods without cause, and I thought that was really baffling. Blyth's rigid performance in the final act contributes to this disconnect, failing to mold Snow into a relatable villain or lover. Prequels often grapple with the challenge of suspense, as knowing the eventual fate of characters can dilute the tension. This is evident in Snow's character arc. His brush with death and moral vacillation lacks suspense, as his eventual transition to the tyrant of the original series is a foregone conclusion.
How tantalizing to see all your shining young faces on this auspicious day. The leaders of the next generation. I won't be around forever after all.
Viola Davis's portrayal of Dr. Volumnia Goal is a study in eccentric villainy, with her asymmetrical eyes and penchant for theatricality and genetically engineered monstrosities. She orchestrates the games with a blend of scientific curiosity and cruel delight, introducing a new layer of terror to the already brutal spectacle. Jason Schwartzman's Lucretus Lucky Flickerman offers a glimmer of comic relief, but his character is like a lone spark in a dark void, desperately in need of a comedic counterpart. Lucretus, ancestor to Stanley Tucci's Caesar Flickerman, injects a darkly comedic flavor, perfectly offsetting the film's tension, but is sorely missed in the final act, for once he exits the narrative, the film plunges into an unrelenting solemnity. Dinklage's portrayal of the disillusioned Dean Highbottom adds complex layers to Snow's ambitious ascent in the capital's political sphere. You initially think that he's as vile and reprehensible as Goal, but end up realizing he's been drinking himself into a stupor, depressed by the fact that he'd unintentionally created the Hunger Games. And his hatred for Snow comes full circle at the end, when we discover that he was merely trying to halt the unbridled aspiration for power of Snow, which reminded him of his once best friend and Koryo's father. Hunter Schafer's Tigris, though sparingly used, is a delightful addition to the stellar ensemble. Initially giddy with hope for her younger cousin, and in the belief that he could bring some good to the games, the final shot of her looking at Snow with a mixture of fear and subtle disgust for becoming his father cements his turn to the dark side. Special mention must also go to Andrés Rivera as Suzanne Collins, a boy torn between the excesses and unlimited opportunity that his family's fortune affords him, and his burning want to help the people in the districts, especially those he grew up with in District 2. Sejanus is the moral core of the film, and his death at the machinations of his best friend is heartbreaking, underscoring the brutal way the capital will snuff out rebellion, even among its own ranks. Running over 2.5 hours, the film could have benefited from a tighter edit, concluding at the 2-hour mark and reserving the abrupt character shifts for a sequel, allowing for a more coherent exploration. Despite these shortcomings, the film's production design impressively weaves elements of horror and dystopia, from vats of grotesque mutts to the chillingly cheerful announcements in the Hunger Games arena. Moments of visual flair fleetingly capture the essence of the Hunger Games universe, a world where nightmarish obedience breeds both fear and rebellion. With all that said, the film struggles under its own narrative weight, that meanders through a convoluted plot that lacks the wit and vibrancy of its predecessors. The brutality in Ballad is unflinching, with the film not shying away from depicting the grim realities of the games. However, this adaptation stumbles in translating the book's ending to screen. Despite being the longest Hunger Games movie to date, the conclusion feels hurried, losing some of the novel's paranoia and surreal quality. This shift from the book's introspective narrative style to a more external cinematic approach results in a melodramatic tone that doesn't quite capture the novel's nuanced exploration of Snow's psyche. At the heart of Ballad is the challenge of connecting emotionally with a film centered on a villain's origin. While Jennifer Lawrence's Katniss Everdeen was easier to root for, finding a similar emotional anchor in Koryo proves more difficult. His relationship with Lucy, marked by its complexity and waywardness, lacks the warmth and relatability of Katniss and Peter's bond. Ultimately, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes struggles under the weight of its legacy. While it does occasionally glimmer with the dark brilliance of the original series, the film often gets lost in the woods of its own making, unable to decide whether it's a tale of love, ambition, or political intrigue. In its quest to unravel the enigma of Coriolanus Snow, the film ends up shrouding him in even more mystery, leaving viewers longing for the moral clarity and narrative cohesion that made the original Hunger Games so compelling. Its spectacle, though grand, cannot mask the narrative deficiencies that prevent it from soaring to the heights of its cinematic forebears. Thus, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes becomes an overextended melody, where the songbirds overstay their welcome, and the snakes lack the necessary venom to leave a lasting impact.
A big part of what we first talked about, Francis and I, was what makes Corio tick to begin with, and a lot of that was to do with his ambition for his family, and then that gives way to a Corio who will start to do anything for himself just to get to the top. Yeah, we talked a lot about where it began and where it ended, and how we weaved that path in between, and seeing him go from young man who is kind of troubled and fighting for his family to dictator that we know him to be in the original movies. And seeing that kind of origin story take place is something that I just couldn't not do.
With that said, that's all for today, folks. A huge thanks to everyone that requested we explore the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if there's anything else you'd like for me to cover, please don't hesitate to ask. As always, it's been a pleasure. Nihat here with Film Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
You hear that, boy? It's the sound of snow falling.
Imagine it was your name that they pulled.
Strange things do happen here.
I just want to know that somebody still cared about me.
You seem like a good man, Coriolanus Snow.
I have seen what war does to people.
There's a natural goodness built into us all. We can step across that line into evil, or not.
It's the things we love most that destroy us.